There's a specific kind of exhaustion that doesn't make sense. You wake up, nothing's even technically wrong, nothing to be pissed off about, your bills are paid, you're not in crisis, people would probably say that you're doing well if they looked at your life, but yet you feel behind. Not behind compared to other people, but compared to yourself. That feeling isn't random, and it isn't even weakness, and it definitely isn't burnout, it's division. Misalignment, because you're not behind, you're not even divided, and that division, misalignment, is quietly draining you. So let me explain exactly what I mean for a second. There was a season of my life where on paper, it looked like I was building momentum. It looked like I had the dream life. I was training hard, posting content, winning title fights in boxing, selling cars. I was talking about growth, discipline, standards, and from the outside, looking in, it looked solid. But internally, I felt split. I'd win something publicly, then I'd sabotage myself privately. I'd train like a fucking animal in the morning. Then I'd eat like someone who doesn't respect their own goals at night. I'd speak about focus. And then I'd sit there scrolling endlessly, brain rot content, even though I promised I wouldn't. It was never anything dramatic, just this low-level tension. Feel it in your chest and in your head, and I know you can relate. It's an internal contradiction that creates so much noise. And that noise is what you call feeling off. Because you think you're overwhelmed, you think you need some kind of, you think you need motivation, but you don't, because you're divided. Part of you wants growth, part of you wants comfort, and those two parts of yourself are fighting. Part of you wants to build and create and build an empire, and then part of you just wants to sit down, relax, and wants some relief. And you know that you're trying to move forward whilst being pulled backwards. And you can't function properly when you're divided like this. You can just about survive, and you can even look successful, but you can't build real momentum in a state like this. Because I remember a certain Tuesday night that made all this clear to me. There was no big event, no crisis, no real pressure, just a normal evening. I'd planned to train properly, do outreach, make some sales calls, and work on my project that mattered to me. But instead, I half did everything. Half effort in the gym, the session probably didn't even count, a few distracted messages, a little bit of work, and a lot of scrolling, let alone the shit food I ate as well. Then I sat there later that night with that familiar old feeling. Why do I feel behind? Nothing bad's even happened. That was the problem. Nothing moved. And I had to admit something that was uncomfortable at the time. I wasn't behind because life was unfair. I was behind because something inside me was misaligned. I was trying to be two men at once, and that just can't work. The man who says that he wants more, he wants to do more, be more, have more, and the man who keeps renegotiating with his own standards, and that split just creates anxiety, not because you're doing too much, you're doing too much of the wrong things that don't light you up, and those actions contradict your identity, because when you say you're disciplined, but you only execute when you feel pressure, you say you value your health, but you treat your body like an afterthought, eat like shit, don't sleep properly, and you say you want more income, but then you avoid the uncomfortable actions and conversations that create income, because you know what those are in your life. That gap between who you say you are and how you're acting is where that off feeling comes from. You don't feel off because you're incapable. You feel off because you know what you could be doing. You know what you should be doing. And I'm not here to try and tell you what you should be doing. You already know. You know what your standards actually are. You just aren't enforcing them consistently and making them non-negotiable. And that lack of enforcement quietly breaks down your self-respect. You don't lose all your self-respect in one big failure. You lose it bit by bit in those small contradictions. Snoozed alarms, skipped sessions, avoided calls, comfort chosen over commitment. And individually, they all look harmless, but collectively, they break you down into pieces. And I've lived in that state for years, because back when I was caught in addiction, debt, overwhelm, I was the definition of a divided man. One version of me was training hard, wanted to be disciplined, wanted to build something meaningful and change the world. Another version just wanted escape, drugs, alcohol, comfort, chaos, because I'd feel powerful in the gym, and then destroy that feeling later on in the day and at night, especially at night. I talk about potential while I was actively sabotaging my own. And from the outside, I could still function, but inside, I was split in half. And that split created constant internal tension that I just couldn't put up with, because you can't build a powerful life on internal contradiction.